The lecture 1 is about Introduction to Coordination Compounds. So, what is a coordination complex? A coordination complex is the product of Lewis acid base reaction in which neutral molecules or anions, which are also termed as ligands, bond to a central metal atom or an ion by coordinate covalent bonds. In the picture, if you see, there is a metal M or a metal ion, and it is connected to a ligand which is denoted by L, and the ligand can be an anion or a neutral molecule. So the bond between a metal and its ligand is basically a dative or coordinate covalent bond. So what is a coordinate covalent bond or a coordination bond? It is just nothing but a coordination bond or a dative covalent bond is a covalent bond in which both electrons come from the same atom. So a coordination bond is shown in the picture here by an arrow. This A is the one which is donating its lone pair of electrons to the B. So B is the one which is accepting a pair of electrons. So such kind of bond is known as coordination bond or dative covalent bond. So next up we have, on the basis of nature, addition or molecular compounds are divided into two categories. So there are double salts and coordination or complex compounds. So these are the major differences between the double salt and a coordination compound. So what does a double salt mean is it exists only in solid state and dissociate into its constituent species in their solution, while coordination compounds retain their identity in solid as well as in solution state. So what I mean by double salt is, suppose for example I am considering a more salt here which is given as FeSO4 dot NH4 taken twice SO4 dot 6H2O. It is a double salt. Suppose this salt is being dissolved in solution, then it will get dissociated into its constituents ions. It's nothing but Fe2 plus SO4 2 minus NH4 plus SO4 2 minus. So all of these ions will get dissociated when a double salt is being placed in the solution, while coordination compound will not retain will retain their identity and will not dissociate into its constituent species. That is the major difference between a double salt and a coordination compound. So second difference is double salt lose their identity in the dissolved state, so they will lose its own identity, and because they have been dissociated into its constituent ions, while a coordination compound does not lose their identity even in the dissolved state. Then the third one is their properties are essentially the same as those of constituent species. So double salt, either in the double salt form or in each constituent species form, their properties would remain the same, while in the coordination compound their properties are different from those of their constituents. For example, K4FeCN6 does not show the test of Fe2 plus and Cn minus ions. So the constituent ion properties have not been shown when in the coordination compounds. Then the final difference is double salts or the metal atom or ion exhibit normal valency, whereas in coordination compounds, the number of negative ions or molecules which surround a central atom is beyond its normal valency. So, a given metal can be coordinated to 4 number of ligands or coordination number of 6. So, it is basically surrounded by a very high number of ligands. So, the metal in a coordination compound exhibits beyond its normal valency. So this is the periodic table where the blue colored region shows the D block elements and down there are F block elements. So basically coordination complexes are formed by the D block elements mostly. So because why the elements exhibit extended valency, or they will show beyond their normal valency, is because of the presence of unpaired electrons or the electrons in the d subshell. If you go from scandium to zinc, for example, from scandium you have one electron in the 3d subshell. For titanium you have two electrons in the 3d subshell. So these are the number of unpaired electrons which are present in the d subshell, that will help to form the or extend their normal covalency, and they will try to form the coordination compounds. So then we have important terminology in coordination chemistry. So first one is Lewis acid. What is a Lewis acid? A Lewis acid is the one which accepts a pair of electrons. So all the electron acceptors are called as Lewis acids. So Lewis base is the one which donates a pair of electrons. So all electron donors are Lewis bases. So the central metal ion, a central metal ion in the complex ion is an acceptor that accepts a pair of electrons from the donor atoms, and that ion, complex ion, is said to be a central metal ion. So our central metal ion in a coordination compound is acting as a Lewis acid. Next up you have oxidation state. Oxidation state is the number that denotes the charge if the central metal atom would have, if all the ligands in the complex were removed along with their electron pairs. And in coordination chemistry you will always represent the oxidation state in the form of Roman numerals. And next up we have ligand. A ligand is an anion or a cation, a molecule that acts as an electron donor. So if it donates a pair of electrons, that is going to be your ligand. So ligands are basically acting as Lewis bases in the coordination compound. Next up you have important term coordination sphere. A coordination sphere in a complex compound is the central metal ion and the ligands which are enclosed within the square braces. So that enclosure, the square brace and the central metal ion and the ligands together are known as the coordination sphere, and this coordination sphere represents a single constituent unit. So the characteristics of this coordination sphere is the ionizable species are placed outside the square bracket, and these ions are not ionizable. Whatever the ions present within the coordination sphere are not ionizable, and they will not give the test for its constituent ions. Only the ions which are present outside the coordination sphere would give the constituent test for those ions. Then you have coordination number. The coordination number of a metal ion in a complex can be defined as number of ligand donor atoms to which the metal is directly bonded. So for example, you have K4FeCN6. So the coordination number of this iron, the central metal ion, is 6. This is because there are 6 ligands, the cyanide ligands, which are directly binded to the metal center. For example, if you consider CuNH3 taken 4 times SO4, the coordination number of copper is 4. This is because 4 ammonia molecules are directly bonded to the central metal ion, which is copper in this case. So the oxidation states are represented in Roman numeral as you can see on the screen, and how to calculate the oxidation states will be followed. So to summarize up, I have shown all the terms here. Let us consider the complex COCl2 NH3 taken 4 times Cl minus. So you have the central ion as a CO, that is cobalt, and you have two types of ligands. One is the chloride ligand and the other one is ammonia molecule. So you have two chlorides and 4 ammonia. So thereby there are 6 ligands, because there are 6 atoms which are directly binded with cobalt central metal. The coordination number is 6, and these square braces and containing central metal ion and the ligands together is termed as your coordination sphere. And then you have a charge on the coordination sphere, that is known as charge number of the complex cation. And then you have a ionizable anion which is outside the coordination sphere. So this is a summary of all the terminology you have come across in the above slides. Then you have coordination polyhedra. So coordination polyhedra is the spatial arrangement of ligand atoms directly attached to the central atom or ion. So inside the coordination sphere, you have the metal surrounded by its ligands. So the metal or the ligands can arrange, or there will be a spatial arrangement of ligands around the metal center. So the arrangement can be as follows: it can be a square planar or tetrahedral in the case if the ligands are 4 in number, and it can be trigonal bipyramidal or square pyramidal if the number of ligands around the central metal ion are 5 in number. If the number of ligands are 6, then the spatial arrangement of ligands can take place in an octahedral fashion. So this is known as coordination polyhedron. Next up, you have how to calculate the oxidation states. As I have mentioned, oxidation state is the charge carried by a metal atom in a complex compound. So in metal carbonyls, metal oxidation state is always equal to 0. This is because carbonyl does not carry any charge. That's why all the metal carbonyls have the metal oxidation state as 0. Then when coordination sphere consists all the neutral ligands, then charge over the coordination sphere is equal to the oxidation state of the metal. What this means is, if you have a ligand whose charge is neutral, or if the ligand is not carrying any charge, suppose for example ammonia NH3 or water H2O, then in those cases the charge over the coordination sphere will be equal to the oxidation state of metal. For example, consider CONH3 taken 6 times 3 plus. Ammonia is a neutral ligand, so the cobalt will carry a charge that is present on the coordination sphere, that is 3 plus. So coordination or the metal oxidation state here is 3 plus. Then next you have, if the coordination sphere does not carry charge, okay, and then charge on the metal and the charges of ligands sum is equal to 0. So you have platinum, water as a ligand, two ligands of water, then you have chloride ligand. So there is a combination of a neutral ligand. Water does not has a charge, but chloride has a charge of -1. Then how you calculate the oxidation state is, you will consider the oxidation state of platinum to be X plus, there are two ligands of water, so 2 into, because water is a neutral ligand, you will substitute 0 plus 2 into the charge of the chloride ion is -1. That's why you will substitute here -1 is equal to 0. This is 0 because you don't have any charge on the coordination sphere. That's why that is equal to 0. Then you have x minus 2 is equal to 0. Thereby come x is equal to +2. Then if the coordination sphere carries positive or negative charges, then sum of metal coordination state or charges on ligands must be equal to charge over the coordination sphere. In the earlier case, on the coordination sphere there was no charge. That's why we have equated it to 0. But in this case, you have a charge of -2 on the coordination sphere. So for example, in the example you consider NiCl4 2 minus. So you need to find out the oxidation state of nickel here. So consider that to be X. So substitute substitute here X plus, there are 4 ligands which are connected to the central metal nickel. So plus 4 into, because the charge of chloride is -1, you have to substitute it -1. So 4 into -1 is equal to, the charge on the coordination sphere is -2. That's why you are going to equate it to -2. Then on substitution, you send this -4 the other side, it will become +4 -2. So thereby X will become 2. So nickel is having an oxidation state of +2. Then consider the next example. If the coordination complex consists coordination sphere and ionic sphere, then charge of metal, charges of ligands and charge of ionic sphere sum must be equal to 0. What I mean by this is, till now we have considered only the coordination sphere with containing a charge or without charge, but here you have coordination sphere and the ionic sphere, this Cl, and in this example this Na represent the ionic sphere. So consider this example wherein AgNH3 taken twice, and outside the coordination sphere you have a chloride ligand. So you have to find out the oxidation state of silver, Ag. So substitute it by X. So X plus 2 into, because there are 2 ammonia ligands, into, because ammonia is a neutral ligand, you will substitute it by 0, plus 1 into -1. This is because you have a chloride ligand outside the coordination sphere, and the charge of the chloride ion is -1, and there is one chloride, that's why you have written 1 into -1, that is equal to 0. So after substitution you will come up X is equal to 1. So silver is having an oxidation state of +1. Then coming to next example, you have Na, AuCN taken twice. So sodium always has a charge of +1. So +1, plus you need to find out the oxidation state of Au, which is nothing but gold. So substitute it by X, plus there are 2 cyanide ligands. So 2 into, each of the cyanide ligand carries a charge of -1. So substitute the charge as -1 here, that is equal to 0. On substitution you will get X is equal to +1. So the gold Au is having an oxidation state of +1. So this is how you will calculate the oxidation states of. The second lecture is on ligands and its types. A ligand is the one which donates a pair of electrons to the central metal ion. So classification of ligands, you have the first one is monodentate or unidentate ligand. Mono means single. So if a ligand contains only one donor atom, that is termed to be unidentate ligands. For example, I have shown here H minus, which is hydrido, CH3COO minus, where it is termed as acetato, C6H5O minus phenoxo, OH minus hydroxo, I minus iodo, CN minus, which is cyano. So these are the names of ligands given while you use them in the nomenclature. So in all these ligands, there is only one donor atom that can donate its pair of electrons to the central metal ion. Suppose in acetato, only this O minus, the charge containing atom, this oxygen is going to donate its electrons. In phenoxo, O is going to bind with the metal center. In hydroxo, that is O which is going to bind with the central metal. Then in cyano, the nitrogen center is going to bind with the central metal. So only one donor atom is going to donate its pair of electrons. That's why those kind of ligands are termed to be monodentate or unidentate ligands. So the next one is polydentate ligands. If a ligand contains more than one donor atoms, it is termed as polydentate ligands. For example, you have SO4 2 minus, where two of the oxygens can bind with the central metal ion. So that's why the bidentate ligand term has come up. Then you have carbonato. This is CO3 2 minus. There are two donor atoms which can donate its pair of electrons to the metal center. Then you have DMG, dimethyl glyoxymato, which is also a bidentate ligand. Then you have ethylene diamine, NH2, CH2, CH2, NH2, where the two nitrogen centers can donate its lone pair of electrons to the metal center. Then you have EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid, that will that has six ligands, six donor atoms which can donate its electrons to the central metal ion. So that's why the hexadentate ligand. Then you have diethylene triamine, which is also denoted as DIEN, and the formula is as shown. So here is the list. If you see here closely, you have unidentate, the type of ligand, the name of ligand, and the third section is the symbol, and the fourth one you have the structure. So in unidentate, I am showing you the structure of water, ammonia, and pyridine. In each of these structures, there is only one donor atom which is trying to donate its pair of electrons or the lone pair to the metal center. Then next, coming to next category, you have bidentate ligands. I have showing you several structures starting with ethylene diamine. Next, glycinate. You have acetyl acetonate anion, oxalate anion. Then you have dimethyl glyoxime anion. Then 2,2 prime dipyridyl ligand. Then you have 1 comma 10 phenanthroline. So in each of these structures, in the first one, ethylene diamine, you have two nitrogens. So these two nitrogens are the atoms which are going to donate its electrons. And the glyoxinate ion, you have a nitrogen donor atom and you have an oxygen donor atom. Coming to acetyl acetonate anion, you have two oxygens which can donate the electrons. Then in oxalate, you have two oxygens. It is shown by arrows here. Then you have in DMG, the two nitrogen centers are going to donate electrons. In 2, 2 dipyridyl, you have two nitrogen centers, and followed by 1, 10 phenanthroline, you have two nitrogen donor atoms. Then coming to tridentate category, you have diethylene triamine. In diethylene triamine, you have three nitrogen centers. One nitrogen is over here, and the second one is here, and the third one is here. So these three nitrogen centers are going to donate its pair of electrons to the metal center. So that's why this ligand is termed to be tridentate ligand. And few more examples of tridentate ligands is immunodiacetate anion, where there is one nitrogen donor atom here as shown. The second one is an oxygen and the third one is an oxygen. So there are two oxygen donor atoms and one nitrogen donor atom. Totally there are three donor atoms. That's why it comes under a category tridentate ligand. Then you have 2, 2 prime comma 2 double prime tetrapyridine, where the structure is shown in figure as here, and there are three nitrogen atoms which are going to give donate its pair of electrons. Then you have tetradentate. You have example as triethylene tetraamine, where four of the nitrogen centers 1, 2, 3, and 4 which are going to donate its pair of electrons to the metal. Then you have pentadentate. Example is ethylene diamine triacetic anion. So you have to look closely the structure. Observe this structure closely, where you can see there is one oxygen here, one, the second oxygen is over here, and the third donor atom, the nitrogen, is over here, and the fourth donor atom is here, the nitrogen, and the fifth donor atom over here is the oxygen. So totally there are three oxygen donor atoms and two nitrogen donor atoms which are going to donate its pair of electrons. Then the last one, hexadentate, EDTA, the very famous ligand, is shown here, the structure, where there are four oxygen atoms, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 oxygen atoms, and there are 2 nitrogen atoms. One is over here and the other one is here. So there are totally 6 donor atoms which contribute or donate its pair of electrons to the metal center. That's why the term for EDTA has come as tetrahexadentate. So next up, we are going to study about ambidentate ligands. So in ambidentate ligands, you have in some certain ligands, there are they possess two different donor atoms. Hence, they can be bonded to metal either of the two donor atoms. Suppose consider the example of nitreto ion. So nitreto ion is having a formula of NO2. So the metal can be bonded with nitrogen or it can be bonded via oxygen. So if it is and it is possessing two donor atoms, one is the nitrogen and the other one is oxygen. Even in the case of cyanide, Cn minus, you have cyanido, you have two possibilities. One is OCN minus, where it can bond with oxygen, and isocyanate, where the ligand can bond to the metal center through nitrogen. So consider this example here as shown below, where it is shown that nitrate NO2 has been used as a ligand, where in the first complex it is bonded with the nitrogen center, while in the second one it is bonded with oxygen center. So such behaviors of ligands in which a ligand is possessing two or more donor atoms and they can be bonded with any of the donor atom, such kind of ligands are termed as ambidentate ligands. So next up we have flexidentate ligands. So in some polydentate ligands, either they utilize all the donor atoms or they will utilize only few donor atoms. That means they are bonded to metal either of any ligating sites. For example, if there are EDTA is having hexadentate. So it means that six donor atoms are present within one ligand. So it is the ligand where it can utilize all the six ligating sites or it can use only few ligating sites. For example, here I have shown SO42 minus acts as a monodentate as well as a bidentate ligand. So SO42 minus can use only one oxygen donor atom to bind with a metal, or as well as it can also use two donor oxygen atoms to bind with a metal. So it can both act as monodentate as well as bidentate ligand. Next up you have, I am showing you a picture here wherein you have a complex, a ruthenium based complex, and this is the entire ligand. So you have ruthenium center, and in this ligand there are two nitrogen atoms which are binded with the ruthenium. When in the complex 2 you have, there are four nitrogen atoms which are directly connected to ruthenium. Here there are two nitrogen which are bonded with ruthenium, and here there are another two ligating sites which are bonded with ruthenium. So in the complex 1 only these two sites have been utilized, while these two ligating sites have not been used, while in the complex 2 all the four ligating sites have been utilized. So such kind of behavior shown by the ligands utilizing their ligating sites are known as flexidentate ligands. Next up you have bridged ligand. In bridged ligands, some of the ligands simultaneously bond to two metal atoms. As a result, they form a bridge between two metal atoms. See, there is a ligand L that can bind simultaneously with a metal here and the metal on the other side. So, such kind of behavior shown, and these ligands are termed to be bridged ligands. So example of such behavior shown by the ligands are Cn minus, OH minus, H minus, NO2 minus, ONO minus, nitride, N3 minus, NH2 minus, and X minus. This is halogens. So these kind of ligands are termed to be bridged ligands, where there is simultaneous bond between two metal atoms. Next, you have chelating ligands. So polydentate ligands, when utilize all the donor atoms, then formation of a ring or a chelation takes place in metal complexes. For example, if you see here, there is a metal center and I am showing you an chelating ligand where DMG, and there are two nitrogen centers which are bonded with the metal. So there is a ring kind of formation. This ring formation is known as chelation. So such kind of complexes are called as chelating complexes or chelating ligands. Such ligands are called chelating ligands. Then you have pi donor ligands or pi electron ligands. So certain ligands do not possess a lone pair of electrons even though they can be bonded to the metal by utilizing their pi bonded electrons. So till now we have seen all the ligands, they can donate a pair of electrons because they consist of a negative charge or they are having a lone pair of electrons. While in pi donor ligands or pi electron ligands, even though the ligands cannot possess a lone pair of electrons, but still they can bind with the metal center through pi bonded electrons. Such kind of ligands are called as pi donor ligands. So for example, C2H4, C2H2, C6H6. So example of such complexes like ferrocene or ruthinosine, and you have Z salt in which there are utilizing of pi bonded electrons to bond with the metal center. Next, you have calculation of coordination number. So coordination number is defined as the number of bonds taken by the metal atom with ligands in complex compound. Okay, in the earlier class, I have mentioned you about a coordination number. Now we will see how to calculate the coordination number. So if the coordination sphere consists only monodentate ligands, if all the ligands are monodentate, then the coordination number of metal is equal to the number of ligands present. Okay, if the ligand is a polydentate ligand, then we need to be careful while calculating the coordination number. So first we will consider the situation where all the ligands are monodentate ligands. Then what will be your coordination number is 1 into that number of monodentate ligands, because mono means single donor atom. So that many number of donor atoms into 1 will be your coordination number. If all are the bidentate ligands, so each bidentate ligand is coordinated with the metal with the two donor atoms. So that's why coordination number is equal to 2 into number of bidentate ligands. If the number of bidentate ligands are 2, then 2 into 2 coordination number will be 4. If the if all the ligands present are tridentate ligands, then tri means 3. Okay, each of the ligand is having 3 donor atoms. Then your coordination number will be 3 into number of tridentate ligands. So next we will see if monodentate and bidentate, if there is a mixture of or a combination of monodentate and bidentate ligands present within a complex, then how you will calculate your coordination number is, because there is one mono, so 1 into number of monodentate ligands plus bidentate ligands, that's why 2 into number of bidentate ligands. Suppose you have a coordination complex with a bidentate and a tridentate ligands. Then bi means 2. So coordination number will be 2 into number of bidentate ligands plus 3 into number of tridentate ligands. So here are the examples I am showing you for the calculation of coordination number. First one is AgNH3 taken twice Cl. So there is 2 ammonia molecules which are ligands bonded to silver. So you know that ammonia is a monodentate ligand. Only nitrogen is bonded with silver. So there is coordination number will be calculated as 1 into 2 because there are two ammonia molecules as ligands. So the coordination number will be 2. Suppose consider this example PtCN4 2 minus. So Cn is a monodentate ligand. So how many monodentate ligands are present? There are 4 monodentate ligands present. So the coordination number will be 1 into 4 because there are 4 ligands present. Then you have COGLY taken thrice glycinate. So glycinate is a bidentate ligand. Bi means 2. So coordination number you will calculate it as 2 into, because there are 3 ligands in number, 3 glycinate ligands are attached to the cobalt. That's why 2 into 3. This 2 has come because it is a bidentate ligand. This 3 has come because there are 3 glycinate ligands bonded to the cobalt. That's why 2 into 3. Total coordination number is 6. Then you have Cr DIEN, and then you have CN thrice. So in this complex you have diethylene triamine. This ligand is a tridentate ligand. So it can form 3 bonds. There are 3 donor atoms connected to the metal center. So how you will calculate the coordination number is 3 into, there is only one diene. Okay, that's why into 1 plus there are 3 cyanide ligands. So and each of the cyanide ligand is a monodentate ligand. That's why it is 1 into 3. So 3 into 1 plus 1 into 3 total comes to be 6. So the coordination number of this particular complex is 6. In this lecture, we are going to see nomenclature of coordination compounds. So, the naming of coordination compounds is done according to IUPAC rules. So, IUPA, IUPAC rules start with first when a complex is given to you. First, you need to know the order of naming the complex. That is, first you always need to name the cationic species followed by anionic species. Then coming to naming of coordination sphere. In the coordination sphere, you know there is a metal and there are its ligands coordinated to its metal. So the coordination sphere is enclosed in square braces and the metal is being indicate metal oxidation state is indicated in Roman numerals. Then naming of ligands. So you have different names for various ligands. As in the earlier lectures, we have studied that ligands can be of neutral type, either cationic or anionic. Suppose you have the ligands of neutral type, then the name of the ligands have been given as follows. Suppose you have CH3NH2, which is known as methylamine, N2H4 hydrazine, NH2CH2CH2NH2, it is ethyl diamine or EN. Then you have C6H5N, this is pyridine, PF3 is trifluorophosphate, and there are some neutral ligands which have some special names like H2O is called aqua, NH3 is amine, CO is carbonyl, CS is thiocarbonyl, NO is nitrosyl. So these are the neutral ligands. So these are the names you mention when these ligands are present in the coordination complex. Then next up you have naming of positive ligands. Whenever you have positively charged ligands in your complex, you will end the naming by IUM. For example, you have NH4 plus. This is ammonium. NO plus nitrosonium. If you have H3O plus, it is hydronium. Then naming of negatively charged ligands. When you have a negatively charged ligand, so the name of the ligand should be ended with the letter O. For example, OH minus is called hydroxo, H minus is hydrido, SO4 2 minus is sulfato, GLY is glycinato, DMG is dimethylglyoxymato, F minus is fluorido. So these are the names of positive ligands and negative ligands. So you need to remember that whenever there are positively charged ligands, you will end the name with IUM. Whenever you have a negatively charged ligand, then you will end their name with O. Next up, you have how do you number ligands? Suppose for a given complex, you have certain number of ligands like 2 or 3 or 4, so on. So when a monodentate ligand occurs more than one time in the coordination sphere, then we will represent its number by 2. In case if you have two ligands, it is represented by di. If you have three, it is mentioned it as tri. If you have four, it is tetra, five penta, and so on. So these are the prefixes to be used for the number of ligands within the coordination sphere if the ligand is a monodentate ligand. So suppose if the ligand present inside the coordination sphere is a polydentate ligand, and if it is present more than once, then what are the prefixes to be used? So in that case, you need to use the prefixes like bis, tris, tetrakis for 4. For bis for 2 ligands, tris for 3 ligands, tetrakis for 4 ligands. So ethylene diamine is a polydentate ligand where its density is 2. So in such cases, in polydentate ligand cases, you need to use prefixes like bis, tris, tetrakis. So then coming to naming ambidentate ligands. So we all know that ambidentate ligands have different donor atoms. So one same ligand can bind with different kind of donor atoms. Suppose for example, I have taken Cn minus cyanide, then it can bind with C. If it binds with C atom, then the name given will be cyano. If the nitrogen atom is the donor, then you will name it as isocyano. So this is the example to name an ambidentate ligand. Then how do you name the metal present inside the coordination sphere? So there are certain rules. So the first rule is when coordination sphere does not carry any charge, then there is no charge mentioned in the name of the metal. So if the charge on the coordination sphere is not present, then the name of the metal will be as such. Suppose Ni will be nickel, Co will be cobalt, Cr chromium, Pt is platinum. Similarly, if coordination sphere carries positive charge, it means that coordination sphere is having a positive charge on top of it. Then also you have to mention the name or metal as such. That is Fe is iron, Cu copper, Zn zinc, so on. So if a coordination sphere does not carry any charge, or if it carries a positive charge, the name of the metal will be written as the element name is present. But if the coordination sphere carries a negative charge, it means if the coordination sphere is having a negative charge or anionic form, then you will use the word ATE at the end of the metal. For example, B, boron, you will name it as borate. CO, cobalt, you will name it as cobalt-8. So at the end of the metal, you will need to add ATE as the name. Then when the coordination sphere carries positive or negative charge, then use the word ion at the end of the complex. If the given complex is in anionic form or cationic form, then you will end the name by using the word ion. Suppose if you have, when before the coordination sphere hydrogen H is present, then name of the metal ends with IC acid. For example, if you have H BF4. BF4 is inside the coordination sphere. This square braces represent coordination sphere. So in such cases, when hydrogen is present outside the coordination sphere, then you will end the name of the coordination compound with IC acid. That's why the name has become tetrafluoro, because there are four fluorine, and this is boron. So boric acid, IC acid is being added at the end because there is a hydrogen here. And 3 represents the oxidation state of boron in this particular coordination complex. Then to summarize, this is a brief summary about the rules we have gone through already. So the names of ligands attached to the metal should be used as prefixes. So first you will name the ligands and you will add prefixes to the ligands. Then the name of the cation appears first. So in a coordination compounds, you will first start naming the cation and then you will go to the anion. Then all the ligands should be listed alphabetically. So here is an example shown. I have given CO, NH3 taken 5 times Cl, and outside the coordination sphere you are having Cl2. So your coordination sphere is a cation here, and outside there is Cl2. Chloride is an anion obviously. So you will start naming by cation and then you will name the anion. So there are two types of ligands present within the coordination sphere. One is the ammonia molecules, and there are 5 ammonia molecules, and there is one chlorine atom. So when you have 5 ligands, that's why the name penta, prefix penta has come here. And then you have ammonia NH3. So whenever you have NH3, you need to name it as amine. So pentaamine, and then you have chlorine atom, so you will name it as chloro. Then you have cobalt, so you have written cobalt, and 3 is its oxidation state. So in the earlier lectures I have already mentioned how to find out the oxidation state. So using that method, you need to find out the oxidation state and you need to write in Roman numerals placed inside the bracket. So pentaamine chloro cobalt 3. So this is the name of the cation. And if you see closely, the ligands are listed alphabetically. So amine is listed first and then C chloro. So this penta, tetra, all these prefixes will not be considered when you are naming the ligands alphabetically. So alphabetical order of ligands only applies for these, not for the prefixes. So then comes the anion, that is chloride. So the total name goes as pentaamine chloro cobalt 3 chloride. Suppose, and next comes, if the ligand is an anion, if the complex is an anionic complex, then you need to end with O. Anionic ligands should be ended with O. Then the simple ligands can be named with mono, di, tetra, penta, etc. If the prefixes can be added like this. If the ligands are complex, then bis, tris, tetrakis, those should be added. These are all I'm repeating once again. Then if the complex is an anion, the metal name has to be ended with ATE. I told you already. Then the oxidation number of the metal should be always written in numerals and enclosed in parentheses after the metal. So now here is the example where I am showing Na2MoOCl4. So you have sodium outside the coordination sphere, and this sodium is the cation, and the entire coordination sphere now becomes anion. In the last example, we have seen the coordination sphere was the cation and the outside ionizable species was the anion. But here you have ionizable species is a cation and you have the coordination sphere as an anion. So first you will name the cation, then only you will go to anion. So what is the cation? The cation is sodium. So sodium, then go to anion. You have molybdenum metal, oxygen as an ligand, and there are 4 chlorine atoms which are the ligands. So first you need to name alphabetical order. So chloro comes first. So 4 ligands are there. So tetrachloro, and oxygen is named as oxo, OXO, and you have molybdenum metal, so molybdate, because ATE is ended because the complex is an anion. So tetrachlorooxo molybdenate, and when you find out the oxidation state of molybdenum, you will get it as 4 and write the oxidation state in Roman numerals inside the parenthesis. Then suppose if you have bridged ligands within the complex, then how do you name those coordination complexes? So when one ligand acts as a bridge between metal atoms, you need to use the prefix mu. Okay, so if the same ligand acts as bridge between metals more than one time, so if only one bridge is considered present, then you will just mention a prefix mu. If there are two bridges like that, then you will mention it as mu di. If it is three, mu tri. If there are four, mu tetra, so on. Suppose if different ligands acts as bridges between two metals, then every bridged ligand should start with a symbol mu, and all those ligands should be in alphabetical order. So if same ligand is present, then you will write mu di, mu tri, so on. If based on the number of times the ligand is repeated. If different ligands are present as bridges, then you will name them, start with mu and name them alphabetically. So for each bridged ligand, you will write one mu. Then if bridged and non-bridged ligands are same, then for if there are bridged ligands and there are non-bridged ligands, then and both the ligands are same, then first you need to name the bridged ligands by using the symbol mu, followed by non-bridged ligands name. Then if the bridged ligands and non-bridged ligands are different, then one should give the name to non-bridged ligands first and then go for bridged ligands. Next up you have, if bridged complexes are to be represented, you need to use the words di, tri, tetra, etc. before the name of the metal. Then ordering of naming of ligands. When different types of ligands are present in the coordination sphere, you need to give their names according to alphabetical order. So the rules are same as well here also, but whenever you have a bridged ligands, you have to place a mu. Then here is the example. You have a bridged ligand as OH. OH is the bridged ligand which is attached to chromium here and the chromium on the other side. Then this is inside the coordination sphere, and outside you are having Cl5. There are 5 chloride ligands outside. Then because this is a bridged ligand, you need to start with mu. So mu dihydroxo, the name given for OH minus. Then you have bis. This is because there are a big poly big group present here, a metal coordinated with 5 ammonia ligands. So bis pentaamine, because there are 5 ammonia molecules, pentaamine, chromium. In bracket you will mention the oxidation state of the metal as 3. This is the cationic part that is ended here, and outside you have the anionic part, that is chloride. So mu hydroxo bis pentaamine chromium 3 chloride. So next up you have a example where you have two types of bridged ligands. One is NH2 and the other one is OH. So first you will name according to alphabetical order. So mu, because it is a bridged ligand, mu amido for NH2. NH2 is different from NH3. Please remember that. So mu amido. Then you have OH. So mu hydroxo. Then you can if you calculate the number of ammonia molecules, here there are 4 and here there are 4, so total there are 8. So that's why the name has come octa amine, because there are ammonia. Then dicobalt, because there are 2 cobalt atoms. In the bracket you will mention the oxidation state of the cobalt. and because it is a ion, there is 4 plus charge on the coordination sphere, you will mention it as ion here in the name. So you can either name like this, like bis pentaamine chromium 3, or you can also write the total number of ligands present like octaamine, then number of metals dicobalt, because there are two cobalt here, so dicobalt 3 ion. So either way you can mention the name of the complexes.